Learn that on Sesame Street.
Yeah. Cess this street. You know what I'm saying? Racist? Maybe. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. We like to welcome everyone to the show with a little bit of pizzazz. You know what I'm saying?
Have you? Yes.
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 More.
So,
More.
I'm gonna blast some aliens to Kingdom Come.
Ass blast. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Send those aliens over an intergalactic barrel.
Yeah.
Sure.
Why not?
I
gotcha. So much fun.
And then the aliens just, oh no, oh you got me, uh-oh.
Yes.
Didn't mean for that to happen.
Humans are so human.
Say humans are so human?
Yeah.
Look, I'm not going to fault that alien for speaking lies.
That's stupid.
Agreed.
I feel like there's a lot of options in here just to kind of have regular conversations, you know?
Yes.
Which
And
I
why
like.
you'd want to have them as a spaceman is interesting.
I know, right? It's I don't know. It's cool.
I am getting bored.
I'd like to think that the astronauts in the ISS are, when they're on a spacewalk and they're trying to communicate back into, all right, open the airlock for me.
Yes.
Okay, but it's not open yet. You got to open. Are you going to open it?
What did you say?
Open the airlock. Is my comms down? Are my comms down right now?
Sup?
They're up? My
Sup?
comms are up. Sup?
Sup? Let's get a move on.
Okay, well, open the airlock. I need to get in. I can't get in.
Yes.
Right.
You still there?
Yes, where am I going to go? We're in the void of space.
Okay.
Great.
It ain't funny.
That one cut out for me.
It ain't funny.
I agree. There's
What did you
radiation out here.
say?
I agree. There's radiation
What
out
did you
here.
say?
I agree. There's radiation out here.
Never mind.
This is amazing.
No, stay with me.
I made it in.
Back off.
You want me to go back out?
See you around.
Wheels off in his face. See you around. Where are you going?
Thanks, dude.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah.
Richard.
Oh, it's so good. So good. Make sure my camera doesn't go to sleep on me. Don't go to sleep on me. Should we just go ahead and sit record on our camies?
Sure.
Let's do it. Beep. I feel like this is at a huge Dutch angle.
The whole thing is going to be Battlestar Galactica.
And not the good one.
No. Wait, no, not Battlestar. Battlefield Earth. That's the one.
There you go.
No, is it Battlefield Earth?
It's Battlefield Earth.
That's the one.
That's the one.
It can only be Battlefield Earth.
It can only be Battlefield Earth. All right. That's good. That's good. That's good.
So is your angle, are you going to be like looking up? the whole
Yeah.
time?
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's a great angle.
And if you're paying attention, guess what, gang? I'm looking at my phone. I'm not looking right there. I'm looking up there. So it'll look better at the final edit. Okay.
It really, what it does is it makes us feel connected when Doug is looking completely away from
Right.
my eye line.
It's like when you're in a meeting and someone's looking at a different thing. That, like, you know, it's like, yeah, tell me more about that. That's great. Yes. Yes.
What I would love to try is the AI that
All right.
fucks with your eye line. Like,
Yeah.
So you can be looking off this way, and it looks like I'm looking dead at you. I would love to see how that works.
Makes it look like you're looking dead ass. You know what I'm saying?
Staring into your soul.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Enough of that. Yes. All right. Enough of that. All right. Should we get this show on the road?
I'm ready.
Are you ready? Okay, here we go. And 3, 2, 1. Perfect. It was perfect. It was absolutely perfect. And you can't say otherwise. All right?
No one can say otherwise.
No one can say otherwise.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Huzzah.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Mind Gap Podcast. I'm Doug.
I'm Justin, and we are thrilled to have you back for another week. And we're not just saying that because the court ordered us to. We are very much we are saying it because the court ordered us to, but we're not just saying it because of that.
Yeah, the kangaroo
we are
court.
Actually thrilled.
The court of kangaroos says, hey, you have to let people know exactly how you feel about them and that you're excited. So
you have to let
booyah.
people know how you feel about kangaroos.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about kangaroos?
I think they're fucking misunderstood. People, it's like one of those creatures that's like, oh, look how cuddly this thing is. And you don't realize that they lean back on their tails that are made of like cartilage to get, a nice spring, and then they fucking disembowel you with their feet. They're
Right.
kind of like raptors in that way.
They're jacked raptors.
Yeah, jack raptors.
They're jackers.
Japtors.
Jactors.
They're like a weird tractor. Jactors.
Hey, man, did you get new tires on your jactor?
Buff guys that like tractors. They're jactors.
What a weird subsection. But you know what? There's a Facebook group for it. So
Yeah,
you're
if there's
welcome.
a Facebook group for it, then it's a protected class. So there you go.
It's from Australia.
That's what HR says. If there's a Facebook group of it, then it's a protected class. Don't fuck
Can
with
you
them.
imagine how gross the HR department is at Facebook?
Yeah. Speaking of Facebook, did you hear that they're giving up on Meta?
No! What? Tell me. I actually didn't hear this.
I read an article. It's basically was like Meta basically is capitulated, and Facebook's basically just going, we're gonna focus on AI.
So the company, the Facebook, the parent company is Meta, but you talking about the metaverse?
The metaverse, yeah.
Okay. So
They're giving
Facebook
up on
is
it.
saying we're just not going to fuck with it anymore.
Yeah. They're giving up on it. After they basically...
They went all in on it.
And not that, but they convinced other businesses to go all in the metaverse as well. And, to buy digital real estate and all that sort of shit, and then just... Yeah.
I still don't understand how any of that works. Like, I'll fully cop to being an old man in this regard. I'm like, the metaverse, when you're like buy digital real estate, I'm like, but it just exists. What are you buying? Is it an NFT?
Well, I think part of it was, according to this article, like Zuckerberg was just selling this thing that people couldn't find an application for. He was just kind of speaking in vague terms and was like, it's the wave of the future, man. It's going to be able to do all this stuff. And he never really gave clear cut, path or a vision of really what he was trying to do. And ultimately, people were like, yeah, we're good. We'll file this under Google Glass,
The box of lost toys.
Yes, exactly.
It's amazing how many people in history have made $1 bajillion off of that exact thing. Like, did you ever watch the? I think it was on Hulu. It was the WeWork.
No,
with, Jared Leto and Anne Hathaway.
I'm familiar with it, but no.
It's essentially what that guy did. Like, he was just like, I'm just going to keep promising that we're going to see growth, and he said it with confidence, and you do that long enough and with enough certainty, and a fool and their money are soon parted. You'll get people paying you.
Yep.
It's amazing how many people have actually gone on and made billions of dollars like that.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive because at some point, you have to realize like this isn't going to last forever.
Yeah.
At some point, this is going to fall apart.
Yeah.
You cannot sustain it. It's just not going to happen. But you're
that's
like,
why I
well,
feel like-
I'm all in, so we'll just keep going.
Yeah. I feel like that's where that line of thinking attracts. I don't know if it's sociopaths or if it's narcissists or if it's. There's a certain type of person though that I think they believe their own hype, and that they like. I'm the one that is gonna. It will work out for me. Like, everyone else looks at it and goes, "This is gonna end in a fiery train wreck," but that person goes, "Nah, I'm gonna be the one that beats the system this time."
Well, I think some people are also they think along the lines of, I have partners and I have everyone who's profiting, and the people that are profiting are like, we'll just keep this going as long as we can, and then, we'll, like Bernie Madoff, the biggest Ponzi scheme guy of all time. Like, there were 3 or 4 other guys when, the well was kind of running dry on the Ponzi scheme, would give him an infusion of cash to keep it going, and they all knew. They all knew what was going on. They're like, we're going to
milk a little bit more.
We'll get, because basically they give them a loan, and then they'd like double their investment.
Yeah.
They're like, cool, once you make this back, you pay us back. And then, well, let's keep this train going. They're like, I didn't know what it was being used for. It's like, yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
God,
Yeah, it's pretty wild. And it's just unfortunate how when enough people are like, yeah, this is a good thing. This is cool. This is legit. And people are like, I guess it must be. If there's this many people involved, then it's got to be legit.
Right.
And because you don't want to believe that this many people could be fooled. But, it happens.
Oh, it happens many, many times over.
Yeah.
And we don't learn from our mistakes. We don't learn from history.
Nope.
So the next person will do the next thing, and people will give money and lose money.
And part of it, too, is like people want to believe that they want to be a part of the next big thing, right? Because people are just
absolutely
stroking their dinguses to the idea of like, man, if I had Bitcoin, when it first came out and it was worth a fraction of a penny and I had it now, man, I'd be so rich. And it's just like, if I went back in time and invested in Apple stock, I would be so rich. It's people don't want to be left out, but then you see what happened with the NFTs, where people just basically got absolutely butt blasted by those things. I mean, again, it depends on the timing. If you're able to get in and grab one of those things and then sell it and then make some money, but it's just, it's a quick buck here and there. If you can pull it off, I guess good for you. But
right. I mean, it's the risk reward. You got to do the math, and it's very, very real with stuff like that, because it could pay out big if you time it just right. Mm-hmm. But by and large, the majority of the people don't time it right, because you get sucked up. It's the gambling thing, right?
Well, it's the trick. That's the whole trick of the thing. Like I was talking to someone who said that they had gotten some cryptocurrency early on, and they sold it for like a $3,000 gain, and he was kind of like, man, I'm kicking myself because I could have made so much more. I'm like, yeah, but you didn't know that. Hindsight. I was like, to make 3,000 on it, I go, that's a huge gain. That if you look at percentages, that's a huge win. I go, that's the key. Like when you're doing stocks and stuff like that and options, the idea is like set a target and then take your money and then leave, and don't sit there and watch it after the fact, because
get out
transact, because if you hold it, you could get those big bucks, but you could also get royally fucked if you're, it's because the greed is the worst thing. It just saps people, because they're like, well, if I hold this on, what if instead of getting 20% return, what if I get 40%? What if I hold on to it and it goes to 55%? It's like, yeah, okay. But what if 20% is also good.
Right.
So
20% more than you had.
Take your 20, move on to the next thing, so
anytime I sit, I don't often go to the casino or gamble, but every once in a while, like maybe once every few years, Beth and I will find our way, into some gambling establishment. And if I sit down at the blackjack table, I always find myself, if I'm up, like, and I play the lowest, like $5, like I find the lowest table, not a high roller, this guy. But if I'm up even just a little bit, I always have that thing of like, you could just call it quits because you're up. Let's say I came in with $100 and I'm $50 up, and I'm like, it's not a lot, but you're $50 richer than when you came in. So you could just grab this and go, I had a wonderful time winning some money tonight. But then I'm also like, yeah, but this next hand could be a blackjack and I could double it. Like, I don't know, maybe. And it is a very, very easy trap to fall into.
It's always the what if. The what if will get you. And it's a brutal. It takes a lot of discipline to overcome that sort of stuff.
Absolutely,
and to stick with the plan. And you got to get taken a few times to realize when's the right time to be like, all right, I've hit my goal. I'm done. I'm out, and I'm moving.
You got to feel that sting.
I feel the sting, baby. Sting of the wasp.
Have you ever gambled? Like, I know you never. You drank accidentally once. I know that.
No, like when I was in 5th grade. I was hanging out with some boys, and they're like dared me to take a drink of their dad's vodka, which I did. I took a drink of it, and then
I was talking about the time with you thought you cracked a soda.
oh yeah, there was that a big old gulp of Miller Lite. That's still a joke amongst Jill's family, where I'm like, ugh. And then I think I had what do you call it? The post meal shot, whatever it's called, the digestif. I had that when I was over in Rome. They gave it to us. I was like, it would be rude if I didn't drink this.
Right.
So I did.
I'm always surprised at how much those help. I find that they help.
I don't know. I just did it. It was like, I don't know what I just did. I was too polite to refuse it. I was like, I guess I have to do this.
Absinthe. Have
I was
fun.
like, oh God, I'm seeing things. But yeah, in general, like if anything, it's been by accident. What was the original question? Got sidetracked.
I was prefacing the gambling question with, I know you don't drink, like you don't have a lot of vices in that realm. So have you ever gambled, even by accident?
I did. We went to, where was it? I don't know if it was Vegas. It was either in the Atlantis Resort in the Bahamas, or it was in Vegas. There was a $20 slot machine. I put in $20. No, yeah, it was $5. I put in $5. I got $20 out, and I'm like, later, and I walked away.
On your first pull?
Yeah, just pulled it.
Wow.
I just quadrupled my intake, and then I was like, later, and I just walked away. One pull.
Right. I'm getting some pop.
The rest of it is just like I don't like what I gotta get fucking chips, and then like I was like, it's just no, I don't want to do that. I'll watch people do roulette. I'll watch people do blackjack. I'll watch people do craps.
Do you find the World Series of Poker interesting? Like, will you sit and watch that at all?
I used to. If it's on like at the gym, I'll be like, all right, I'll watch that. But I'm not. I'm not. If anything, it's become more of a spectacle now. I think when I was really into it was when, like, what's his last name, Moneymaker, was in it. I think it was like 2004. Yeah. And that was kind of like right when it was like breaking through to the mainstream, and it was really cool. Now, I watched over the years. It's like now people like they throw on their headphones and their sunglasses, and it's just it's a whole thing now. Yeah, it's not that enjoyable for me to watch. But I mean, like, I don't go to casinos that often, but if I do, I'm just curious. I'll just watch. I'm happy to watch.
Also, the people who know like how to play the game, like I'm always just like bamboozled by craps and roulette. Like I know it's craps more so. Roulette, I understand it's not super complicated, but craps, I'll stand at that table and I'll watch them, and I'm like, I don't know the people who are just confidently throwing things down and they're making their bets and they're like, I'm like, who understands this game? Kudos to all of you, because this game is absurdly, unnecessarily complicated.
Yeah, it's the way I understand it is there's someone that shoots the dice, and that person is trying to do certain things, and then you're either betting for or against the person rolling the dice. Like you're either trying to say, I bet they're going to roll this, or I bet they're going to roll that, and it is. I think you can get like broad bets, and then down to very specific, like this. It's similar to roulette, where you can be like red or black, but then you can be like odd number, even a specific number. It's going to be blah, 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 blah. There's many ways to break it down. Yeah, it's wild.
I'm a blackjack. I don't even sit at the poker tables. I like poker. I'll play it I'll
play it with friends,
hanging out. Yeah, no problem with that whatsoever. Had a lot of great times in college just fucking around with it. But if I go to the casinos, I'll sit down at the blackjack table, the cheapest one I can find, and as soon as my limit is hit, then I am walking away.
I had a friendship end over a game of poker.
Really?
That was fun. It was in college.
Why?
And it was our senior year, and we were playing. It wasn't much. I think it was like $20, I think, was like with the first place when it was like 4 people. And we set a rule that if it once it went to heads up, it was something the way that the math worked out that you could just say, I'm just going to take the $10 or whatever. Like you're going to split it. You know what I mean? You're going to split it and be like, we'll just like, take your buy-in and be done or whatever. Yeah. And the way that it worked out, I wish I remembered how this worked out, was there was very little incentive to go heads up.
Okay.
Because It was very little incentive for the person that was like ahead to go ahead and do it, because the odds of you would lose way more than if you just took let's not do it, let's just take the split. Yeah. And I went out, another guy went out, and then Jill and this other guy were going heads up. And as they're going to do that, I just mentioned, I go, oh, this seems kind of flawed. This is my intention. I was like, I think this is flawed, because why would you ever go heads up? Because it makes more sense to not do that. And he goes, well, we already agreed to that. I go, oh, I know, I understand. I'm just saying, moving forward, I think this is flawed logic. This isn't, there's no reason to go heads up. And he just kept going back to well, we agreed on this. I'm like, I understand.
Right.
What I'm saying,
I'm not stopping it right now.
Yeah, I'm just saying is, well, we already agreed to that. I'm like, I understand. What I'm saying is, can you see that there's a flaw in this lot? And it just went round and round, and then we got into a shouting match. And then, and then he started taking low blows. It started getting off topic, and that basically ended our friendship.
Oh, that's a bummer, man.
Yeah.
Was this back in college or what?
Yeah, it was my senior year of college. And that point moving on, we basically, our friendship had died in that moment. It just died a slow death afterwards. So,
Jesus, when is the last time you talked to this individual?
When I moved out.
Oh wow! Okay.
After the end of that year, we both gave each other a very required yet polite goodbye. We're like, all right, man, well, see you later, and that was that.
Yeah,
we still haven't spoken to this day.
I don't spoil any surprises, but guess who my surprise?
Oh shit! Is it Jake Abbott? Jake Abbott.
That's the name for sure. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was unfortunate that's
a
how
bummer,
that was the beginning of the end, and there was some other stuff in there that apparently he had issues with. That started leaking out as this argument unfolded, where I was like, wait, what? So yeah, and I wouldn't call this a win, so to speak, but everyone else in the house was on my side.
I would call it a win.
I don't call that a win, because that's not how I want to view it. But in the moment, being young and immature, it felt good to know that other people were like, yeah, man, this is weird, because also he did other weird shit and got on other people's nerves, and other people were like, yeah, man, I'm not here for that.
Butter in socks.
It was strange. I remember one night, it was kind of late, and this guy and his girlfriend and another guy and his girlfriend were in a room downstairs, and I could just overhear people talking, and it sounded like things were progressing to the point where there was going to be a foursome, and it was getting very strange.
Okay. I
heard things like, cool, now you take off your shirt. And I was just sitting at the top of the stairs with my cat Taco. And she was just sitting on my lap, and I'm just petting her. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? And it's like, cool, now you two kiss. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening? And one of my other roommates came home, and he was not in a good mood. He came right upstairs. He's like, what the fuck are you doing? I'm like, dude, I think they're about to have a foursome down there. And there was a lot of giggling and a lot of it got really loud. It sounded like things were about to kick off. He went down and was like, boom, 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 boom. Opened the door. He was like, what the fuck are you doing? It's late. I'm trying to do this, that, or the other thing. And just slammed the door and went upstairs. And I was just like, and boy, talk about a boner killer, because whatever was about to happen got shut down in that moment. Mood killer.
Did you not find it odd at all that you were just peeping Tom, but with your ears?
I was like, there's no way. Because first of all, it was obnoxiously loud. There was no way to not.
How was it loud? What were they
doing? They were just talking very loud. It was just the way, this was a shitty house. And so there was no way to not hear what was going on. So I would come out of my room nah, I didn't hear that. So I would be standing there, and then I would heard something. I'm like, all right, that's curious. And I heard something else, and so I just found myself standing there to the point where I'm like, I need to sit down. My legs are getting tired, you know? And then I was just like, what the? I'm like, there's no way. And I kept telling myself, Practical Doug's like, this ain't what you think it is. We need to confirm whether or not this is what you think it is. And something else more curious would happen. I'm like, with my cat, I'm like, no way. There's no way this is going to happen. And it's like, now you take off your shirt. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Huh? There's no way. Is it?
And also, this guy would have, towards the end of our, staying together, would have just his girlfriend was obnoxiously loud during sex. Like,
Oh, yeah.
performative loud to the point where we were like, shut up. Like, it was just so obnoxious. And I know that guy loved it. And I was like, good for you. But, like, you know, we're all living here, man.
Right.
We're all living here, okay? This is uncomfortable.
He's like, did you hear that? Sorry if it was too loud. I'm just, you know.
He may as well have been like that, you know?
Yeah.
I was too busy getting balls deep. You know what I'm talking about? You guys know what I'm talking about, right?
Take your shirt off, Doug. What?
Yeah.
No, I don't. Jacob, no.
He's just like,
Yes.
you know?
That's what she sounded like when she was,
Yeah, it was just.
Yes. That's stupid.
And then it was like,
Okay.
when she was done,
powering down.
powering down. And he was like,
I'm gonna come.
Yeah, thank you. There's a lot of,
hey, man, we went for broke on that one.
I think I told you about when Beth and I lived, we're still in Chicago, and we had the next door neighbor that we called Mona.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't know her actual name, but that was a good enough pseudonym for her.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, talk about performative. You know what? I don't know, though. Maybe she just had a really attentive partner.
You know what? Listen.
I don't want to say.
Enjoy your sex life, everybody. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy each other. All I have to say is just be cognizant of those around you, you know?
Right.
Because
if you're in an apartment complex and you share a bedroom wall.
If you're sharing a house, and you have a lot of shared common spaces, just be thoughtful. Be thoughtful of those around you. I don't care. Do what you got to do, man. Have fun. Enjoy your life. Just have good sex. That's all good. But just be cognizant, you know? Be thoughtful. And, you know, sometimes it sucks. I mean, I know most of my life, from the second you can drive until God knows when, you're usually sharing some sort of space with somebody. You don't have a spot to call your own. That was the weirdest thing when Jill and I finally, and I'm sure you know this, just moving in, like you move in, you're like, oh, this is our house now. Like,
yes,
this is our house.
absolutely.
Like, we have our own fucking space after spending years in dorms, in apartments, and just all sorts of shared areas. You're like, no, this is ours. This is
well, it's
ours.
funny because we had not too long ago, like I'll every once in a while I'll have that thought of like, man, there's a whole floor in between where Beth and I are right now. Like I'm up in what I call my office. I call the treehouse, and then she's down in the basement with the dogs watching TV or whatever. Like there's an entire floor of a residence that is unoccupied between us, but it's our that's just the mind fuck. And the other day she seemed a little upset or sad, and I said, is everything okay? She goes, I just feel, I don't know, there's and I can't remember how she phrased it, but it was like I feel like there's like distance between, like, or like I don't feel as close right now. And we, after talking it through, literally came to the realization that it's just because we're not in the same room 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Like, we lived for 12, 15 years in what is essentially a 780 square foot apartment. Like, it's a room. We were in a room all the time together. We're like, oh, actually, it's okay. So it's not a bad thing to feel that there's some space. It's actually a good thing. It's a mind fuck. It really is.
Yeah,
it really is.
It's a change. And as you said, hey, babe, I hear what you're saying. I love you and I miss you. And as you walked up the stairs, and she's like, you know what? Just stay up there. I'm glad we have the space.
And I just go, forever in your heart.
And she's like, all right, stay up there. Don't come down. I had that today. Jill and I went on a walk. And when we came back, we were looking for Loki. We're like, where's Loki? Is she downstairs? No, she's got to be upstairs. So we go upstairs. As we're going upstairs, I fart. And we go all the way up there.
Is she behind you?
No, she's in front of me.
Okay.
We go upstairs, I fart, and then we go up there, we look at all the rooms. She's not there, like, oh shit, she must be downstairs. And she's like, now we gotta walk through your fart. And it was a bad one. I was like, oh god, it is bad. We had to go around, go right back through it. And we found the dog downstairs. Like, we didn't have to go through any of that, but we did.
But you know what? And you're closer for it.
Walking through the fart cloud, she's like, God, what have you been eating? I'm like, just the normal stuff.
Walking through the fart cloud sounds like that should be the name of your first album.
Right. My first something. Walking through the fart cloud, baby.
Exactly. You know? Yeah. The concept album.
It's a concept album. It's good. Is it good?
Yes.
You know?
Absolutely.
Woo!
My goodness. Oh my goodness.
Well, let's get to our first thing
I-
of the night here. I think this is really important because for all you sports fans out there, all you sports douche canoes,
sports fans.
sports are cool. There's this article from
I don't believe that when you say it.
what's that?
I don't believe that when you say it.
What?
It didn't sound genuine.
Sports fans?
No, sports are cool.
Oh, sports are adequate. They're real. They're real, Justin.
It sounds
They're real.
okay.
There's this article on Deseret News that says 3 strikes and you're out. How one little league organization is tackling umpire abuse. So, kind of like the too long didn't read of this is spectators who argue with the umpire will have to try their hand at umpiring before returning to the stands.
I am 100% here for this.
Yes.
Because I don't have children. I don't have children specifically that are in sport. I never played a ton of sports myself when I was a kid, but I hate the parents who are just obnoxious. I have nieces and nephews. I've been to sporting. Like, I never experienced it myself, but I have seen this in action, and it is infuriating when these parents are losing their minds over a fucking little league or bitty ball or whatever the fuck it is. You're like, these are children. They're fucking children. Relax. And this organization is my hero right now.
Yeah, so if spectators are guilty of arguing with the umpire, they will need to serve as umpire for 3 games. So they have to be an umpire for 3 games before they're allowed back to spectate. So I think that's fantastic because as I said many episodes ago when we were talking about customer service and how I said everyone should do it's kind of like how there's mandatory military service, there needs to be mandatory customer service.
Absolutely.
And something similar with this, like being an umpire is always going to be challenging because you're always going to piss someone off with some call. And, and to kind of like, bring up like what Justin's talking about is these are youth sports, man. This ain't the World Series.
No.
This ain't the NFL. This ain't the NBA. This ain't any of that shit. Like these are kids who are learning how to play this game. Now, obviously, the older they get, the more talented they get, the more experience they get. The expectation is, there's more at quote unquote stake, but still,
maybe scholarships, maybe some actual money's on the line.
But I would say that gets to like high school level. You know what I mean? Like high school level stuff. But
yeah.
It's
when if you're under a certain age, it's fucking uncalled for. It's absolutely uncalled for. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like they gave a example here. They said during a 2019 youth baseball game in Lakewood, Colorado, parents disagree with a call from a 13-year-old umpire and stormed the field. Parents and spectators started punching each other while the 7-year-old players looked on. So this is a 7-year-olds that are. This is basically Natalie's age, right?
Exactly. Think about that.
And let me tell you, being around a bunch of 7-year-olds, they don't know dick about what they're doing. All right, they have no idea what they're doing, and
they're picking grass. They're looking up at this. It's that. What's going on?
They have no idea what's going on. The idea that you could get them to even swing a bat or throw is just a goddamn miracle.
Right.
So, I think it makes sense to just chill your tits. Like
I think the statistic in here that actually shocked me was because this is happening in New Jersey, which good on you, New Jersey. Finally, you're doing something. But the New York Times reported that it's not just a Jersey issue. Nationwide, 50,000 high school referees quit from 2018 to 2021. That's fucked up, man.
Yeah.
And it all based off of, or the majority, if not all, based on verbal abuse.
Yeah.
How bad is it fucking getting? Like, that's absolutely insane to me. 50,000.
Yeah. That's insane.
In 4 years. That's crazy.
It's like, what is this? It says like Deptford Township Little League, the Utah Youth Soccer Association experienced the same shortage and uptick in verbal abuse. One of the association's referees, a 16-year-old young woman, had to be escorted off the field by police officers because people were coming after us. It's just like,
now again, think about that. Like, you're threatening a 16-year-old kid. At that point, they're still a kid. You're threatening a child, not a child. Sorry, a young adult. But it's still they're a kid. They're a minor. You're threatening a minor.
Yeah.
Over a fucking a game.
I remember being at Jill's nephew, who's a big soccer guy, when he was young, maybe, I don't know, 8, 9 years old. We went to see one of his games, and I had to watch a parent get thrown out because he was just like jabbering on the sideline. Just jabbering, talking shit to the point where I could tell the referee, she got annoyed with it. She got flustered, and she's like, you can go. And the guy was like, good, fine, good. And he like packed up his shit. I'm like, you're getting thrown out? I was like, look where we are. We're in the middle of nowhere in a fucking field.
Right.
All right? That's how important this game is. That's how nobody gives a shit. We're in some fucking field. There's no structure. Someone mowed this area for these kids to play in, and you're gonna fucking pick fights? Like, what are you doing?
Well, and not only that, but like you're talking about just you're putting your child at in an odd way, right? Because if I'm a parent, and you could probably speak to this even better, but if I would assume that if I was a parent and some kid's dad's acting like an absolute asshole, I'm less inclined to want my kid to hang around. I don't want them going over to that dad's house.
No.
I don't want them interacting. I don't want them learning from that. I don't want them exposed to that. And so you're also hurting. Not only are you being an asshole, you're hurting your child. You're hurting them from a social standpoint.
Yeah, 100% agree. And I mean, in my experience, I also remember I've told this story, before, but I used to, when I was in high school wrestling, one of the things we did to kind of give back was high school wrestlers would volunteer at what we called a kids club event, which was like basically youth wrestling tournament for the day. And I was working as like a scorekeeper at during like several matches, and these were 6-year-old boys that were wrestling who didn't know what was going on. I mean, these kids, they were just smiling and just doing whatever, and the pins came fast and furious because these kids don't know what the fuck they're doing. And I just watched these coaches like beating the mat, being like, get him, put him in a foul, half Nelson, turn him, flip him, go. I'm like, these are 6-year-old kids, man.
Right,
like, just relax, man, relax. Like they just want to. They don't give a shit. All right. This is where you work on the fundamentals. This is where you're like, yes, and just, and kids cry when they lose and they get pinned. And, also wrestling is kind of a violent sport, man. Like, you got to manhandle someone else. And
absolutely,
it's
all about domination.
It's very weird, man. And I don't know, just seeing that even when I was, 17, 18 years old, I was pretty disgusted by what I was seeing from those adults. I'm like, these are children, man. Like, why? You should be looking at this as like, yeah, we'll have a friendly competition because this is the best way to practice, But, just it blew my mind at the insanity that goes behind this stuff. And it's upsetting to see parents acting like this in front of their kids. I would be ashamed. The only way I would ever act like that is if my kid or other kids were in like physical danger.
Yes,
if someone was doing something, if there was a call that was not made that put someone else in danger, I would probably lose my fucking mind over that. Right. But a bad call, sure, I might be like, I remember, actually, it's funny. I just thought of this. I remember my dad, who's usually pretty chill, at a wrestling meet was like getting into it with another mom in the stands, which was hilarious to me. And my mom was mortified because my dad was just like going in on her. But apparently there was a guy on our team who did he kind of did like a throw on someone, and the kid like hit the mat pretty hard, and this lady's like, that's illegal. My dad's like, actually it's not. She's like, you can't do that, you're gonna get hurt. He goes, it's legal. And then I look up and my dad's just, all I see is just him going, and the lady's just like jabbering back, and my mom is like this, just like face covered, just like so embarrassed. And I was laughing. I was nudging my friends like, look at my dad. My dad's going in on this lady, just because he's. Because to be fair, my dad knows the rules better than anybody. He was a coach. Yeah. Like, he knows that stuff. He follows that stuff. For somebody like, that's illegal. He's like, it's not. It's very legal. You know what you're talking about. He's like, you don't know what you're talking about.
You gotta wonder what made him escalate it, though. You know what I mean?
My dad is honestly, he's always been a crotchety old man, and he was just like, he doesn't suffer fools. You know, if someone says something that's not right, he'll call it out. You know, especially if it's something that he really loves, like sports, and you know, him being a coach, or whatever. Is like, no, you can do that. You know, it just he doesn't stand for it. So. Seth goes, I tune in at my dad was going to town on this lady. Yeah, he was. Yeah. Big time. You know?
I mean, well, I was going to say, think about how important directions are in that statement. Because you're like, hey, guys, look, my dad's going in on that lady.
Yeah.
If you take in and change it to down.
Yeah.
Direction matters, man.
It does. It does. And Siren is also saying that, you know, some parents are so sad these days to make a huge deal about things like this. It's like, listen here, Karen and Ken, stop being entitled. That's very true. Absolutely true. Like, the entitlement that comes along with this stuff. And again, for me, you know, Natalie's not in sports. I mean, she does swim lessons and things like that. And you know, if she's interested in doing something, I'm totally willing to let her try. But, you know, I just, for me, the big thing will be like, learn the fundamentals. That's why we're here. We're here to learn the fundamentals. We're here to learn how things work. And over time, if you want to keep going, those skills will develop, and then we'll talk about, because there absolutely needs to be a level of learning how to be competitive, learning how to deal with adversity. It's some of the stuff we're working on right now with Nat. She struggles. I think the idea of like being in competition, I think, scares her because she doesn't want to lose. And I'm like, that's fine. I get that, you know, but at the same time too, you know, she's been playing Super Mario Odyssey by herself. She started the game over and she's playing it all through by herself, and she'll ask me for help, and I'll look to her. I go, you can do it. I know you can. Like, I've seen you. I know what you're capable of. Just because it's hard doesn't mean that you can't do it. I'm not just going to you don't get to hand me this controller and I just do it for you and then give it back to you. I'm like, you got to do it. You got to earn it. When she does, I celebrate her. I'm like, you did it. Yeah. See? You said you couldn't do it. Now look at you. You're fucking killing it. Way to go. I was like, you know, give me 20 push-ups, you know, for doubting yourself.
I think you bring up a good point, too, because it's not really even – it's partially you're learning – these kids are learning the fundamentals of the sport that they're playing, but there's a lot more happening here. Like you said, they're learning about adversity. They're learning about how to dig down and push a little bit harder when things get tough and get through that. They're learning about teamwork and how to share and how to make – like how to rely on other people, how to let other people rely on you and not let them down. There's a lot of actual social elements, social structure being learned in these games that they're playing, especially at that age when you're doing Little League and stuff. And the parents are just making it. And I don't know if maybe it's just, look, you and I have never been huge sports people. You know, that's just not what we're cut from. We're a little bit more towards the movie side. Mm-hmm. You know, you wrestled and you did track and field, but I don't think either of us are like, you know, I want to watch the game this weekend.
No, never have.
Maybe people who are wired that way, maybe it's a little bit different, but I don't understand losing your mind over something like that, especially when it comes down to the when it's the children. They're learning. They're fucking learning.
I agree. So I want to put this to the audience. If you played sports or if you have kids, you know, hit us up in the comments. Let us know, like, have you experienced any of this sort of stuff? What do you think about it when you see parents act like this? Are you one of these parents? Do you want to talk about it? We're not your therapist, but do you want to talk about it? Why do you get so worked up? Let us know. Yeah. We'd love to hear from you.
Tell us the best story that you have of someone in the stands, because I know there are some crazy ones out there.
This was like I think it was an old Vine from years ago, but there was like a hockey game, like a kids' youth hockey game, and this guy was getting so mad he was banging on the glass and it broke. And it's just like there's this weird silence, and someone goes, "Way to go, Gary!" Just. Like, great, now we gotta stop the game, you fucking dick. Like, just yeah, so fun stuff. Speaking of fun stuff, super fun stuff. There's I have this one all set up and ready to go.
It's a visual one, folks.
It is a visual one. So I'll read you the story and then we'll give you our thoughts on it. Okay, so the headline for this one goes out to Seth. State senator makes shirtless vote during Zoom meeting. So the way this goes is that should be Missouri. Minnesota State Senator became a reluctant star after he voted shirtless while lying in bed during what could have been or should have been a routine legislative commission meeting. So in a video streamed on YouTube, Republican Senator Calvin Barr of East Bethel can briefly be seen voting with a Schoolhouse Rock "I'm Just a Bill" character on the wall behind him during a Zoom call on Monday. So if you're curious, man, if you're like, geez, Doug, I really wonder what this looks like. Well, here you go.
Aren't you in luck?
This is what it looks like. Here's this guy just shirtless in bed with his terrible Zoom background of I work for the government, so I'm a bill on Capitol Hill, you know.
But not only is he a state senator, Doug, that's not the only job he has.
That's true, because according to the spokesperson, what did they say, Justin?
They said that Barr, a truck driver, worked until 4:45 a.m. and then went to bed before Monday's meeting. So, you know, just alarm went off. He went, oh, shit, I gotta log on and vote. Hold on 1 second. All right, logged in, camera on. Yay. Camera off. And everyone was treated to this.
Yeah. So my takeaway from this is that anybody can be a state senator. And that's not knocking. I want to be clear. I'm not knocking truck drivers. My father-in-law's a truck driver. You know, he's doing the good work. But this is such low effort. I wouldn't even say this is bare minimum because it's not bare minimum. I mean, this guy, I don't care how late you're up. If you are a state senator and you have a job to do, which is to vote, look, man, put on a shirt. You don't have to put on pants. Just put on a fucking shirt. And if all you're going to do is just vote, be there and be like, yay.
I would argue it doesn't even need to be a button-up shirt.
Yeah, right.
Just a shirt.
A shirt.
That's it. Yeah.
And also be sitting up, man. Like we can see your blanket. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So just
I think what at the same time too, this shows if I was one of his constituents, I would look at this and be like, man, this shows a blatant disregard for the office. Like you're making laws that are going to affect me, and you're doing this while propped up on one arm in your bed, you know, probably half asleep, crusties in your eye, you know, like his hair looks like it's on point though. I'll give him that.
Does it though?
He doesn't have bedhead.
How can you tell?
So good on him. Well, you're right.
It also looks like one of those really cheap blankets you find at like a motel. Like
it's only a teeny little corner of it, but for some reason that's exactly what that looks like.
Yeah, you're like, oh, this is a guy who's you know,
he's thrifty is what he's
he's thrifty. That's what the way to put it.
He was actually calling. He logged in from the back of his truck.
There you go. It could have been. Who knows?
Yeah.
You know.
I agree. I think bare minimum. You put it like it's disrespectful. The other way that I would look at this, and I think this applies for everybody. You know, you can look at what was the guy from CNN, Tuman, the guy that got fired for jerking off on camera.
There's been so many of them, Justin.
Whatever
I mean,
it is.
Can we single one out? I mean, come on. There's so many.
Yeah, it's just a symphony of grossness. I would say you look at it this way. Would you go into the state capitol and vote this way in person?
No.
Would you if you wouldn't do the thing in person, then you don't do the thing on Zoom. Zoom remote working doesn't just give you a pass to let all social decorum just fucking go out the window. We're loose on things. You know, if a kid runs in, your dog, you got to get up. You got to take care of this, that, the other thing. These are things that we're all in agreement we can loosen up a little bit. But put a shirt on, keep it in your pants. You know, simple things. If you wouldn't do it at the office, don't do it on your Zoom. Don't do it, especially when you're fucking voting on a law.
Yeah, it's just so disrespectful, and just. Well, everything you said, Justin, makes so much sense. Practical Doug approves this message because it's Thank you. Would you do this in person? No? Then don't fucking do it on Zoom. All right?
Right.
Like,
it's very easy.
I want to go back to a very important point. The amount of guys that have been caught jerking off or looking at porn since we've been doing remote work I mean,
Right.
people are like, well, I'm at home. It's like, yeah, but you're also at work. Would you do this at work? And if there's a handful of those guys that are like, yeah, I also do it at work. It's like, okay, that's a whole different situation. But for the guys that are like, yeah, well, I'm at home, so I'm just going to do this, while on a Zoom meeting. Right. Just the sheer amount of stuff where, I mean, I've seen so many examples of people that are like, hey, took a screenshot of whatever, and you see like their tabs that are open.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like,
oh, it's amazing.
Dude, what's this teens only tab that you have open, sir?
Oh, God.
You're an IT guy too. Like, what's up with that, man? Like, what's going on there? The siren goes, imagine you're on a Zoom meeting for a family call and you're topless. I mean, I do that for streams sometimes as Andy America, so.
Yeah. Well, you answered, was it, there was one time we were having a production meeting. Your camera flipped on and it's just, Doug's just there, full bare chest. He's got his natural sweater on.
I do. I run warm, I actually did that not that long ago.
I was not prepared for that.
Seth and Eric were doing a covert meeting in one of my D&D Discord servers. They were like in the chat, and I was just like, I just hopped in there. I go, what the fuck's going on here? They're like, oh, we're just meeting, and they were on video. I turned on the video, same thing. I was shirtless and everything. They're like, oh my God. I'm like, yeah, that's right. So
I also love that they were doing a covert meeting in the Discord. That tickles me.
I just happened to have that server open, and I just see two people in the chat. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And then I was like,
what's happening in my
I go, what's going on in here, huh? They're like, we're just talking. I'm like, well, I'm going to stay here then. And I just sat there shirtless and
you keep
watched
the door open 6 inches.
That's right. 6 inches, motherfucker.
Yeah.
So listen, we all make mistakes, all right? But Senator Cal, do better, buddy. Try harder. Okay.
Yeah.
This is the stuff you can get away with Zoom nowadays. Just listen. Like I said, you don't have to put pants on. Okay. That's the luxury. That is the future we have crafted for ourselves. Our ancestors worked in coal mines. They came over in ships. The sacrifices that our ancestors have made so that you don't have to wear pants to a meeting. Fucking acknowledge where you come from, what your ancestors have done, and show them the respect. Put on a shirt and vote for your goddamn bill. All right?
I mean, at least Winnie the Pooh it.
Yeah.
That's all we're asking.
Jesus.
Minimum.
God damn it!
Tom Cruise.
Do your job.
Do your job. I'll to put a button on this. I think the thing that makes this worse is that there's a kid's cartoon in his background.
Well, that bothers me for two reasons.
Yeah.
One, it's super fucking hacky. Because they're like, I work in the government. I'm a legislator. So that really old cartoon?
Yep.
That's going to be my fucking background. I was like, ugh. The only thing that would be worse if it was like an American eagle clutching the American flag and like, I don't know, an immigrant or something like that would just make it worse, as if this is like, great, we all really know who you are. But instead it's like, this is my background, this screenshot from this commercial that taught me everything I know about government, This is all I know,
Yeah.
Ugh. Oh, here we go. I was watching a story and someone read a story about a person who was meant to have their camera on Teams for a university meeting. They were in hospital clothes.
So were they sick? Did they break something?
Uh-oh.
I need to know more about this.
Yeah, it sounds
Why were they in
scandalous.
hospital clothes? What's going on here?
Yes. And then they woke up from a dream and they realized it was all in their head. It was all a dream. It wasn't real. And they were like, what? Oh, yeah.
Speaking about not wearing clothes.
That's right, man.
Germany. Am I right?
Y'all want to hear about some German stuff? Here's a good headline. Germany, man rescued from woods after sex game goes awry. Listen, we've all been there. All right?
Right? We've all to Germany, you mean? We've all been there?
We've all been to Germany where sex games have gone awry. Okay?
What else do you do in Germany, Seth?
Right? Yes. Seth goes, I haven't approved this. Mm-hmm. All right. So here's the long and short of it. A 51-year-old man who was left tied up in the woods when a sex game went awry had a lucky escape after a cyclist and a hunter heard his screams for help. This man was discovered fully dressed but firmly bound with ropes and a pantyhose over his head atop a deer hunting platform near the town of Buchberg late Wednesday.
Flawless pronunciation, by the way.
Thank you. Appears this man was tied up by a woman he met online. After she had done so, the woman received a phone call and fled the woods suddenly, leaving the man behind in a helpless state. And this said that he had a box cutter on him for such situations, in quotes, but seemed to have underestimated the woman's bondage skills because he was unable to reach the knife. So, yeah. Seth goes, this is a tame Florida man story. Hey, man, for Germany, you know what's up.
That's a box cutter, but I can't reach it because it was so good.
Oh, but her nuts were so good. They were so deliciously good.
Yeah. She was naughty with her nuts.
Yeah.
What? I gotta ask you what the paragraph in here that sticks out to me is after she had done so, the woman receives a phone call and fled the woods suddenly, leaving the man behind in a helpless state. What was the nature of that phone call, Doug?
Grubhub delivery.
Her order was...
We've all done that, right? We've ordered online instead of setting the time for like, oh yeah, for 2 hours you hit ASAP.
Right.
And they're like, yeah, we delivered this shit. And you're like, fuck.
Oh no, I gotta get home.
That was like $30 worth of shit. Because with delivery fees and stuff, like, fuck. And you know that, Carl with a K, because they're German, he steals that shit off of her doorstep, her stoop all the time. He's constantly just grabbing her Grubhub, and she's like, fuck, that's like a 30-minute drive, and I totally forgot. I hit ASAP instead of like, I don't know, 1,800 hours since they're on 24-hour clocks over there. So she's, was basically like, hey, man, I fucking got to go, dude.
Yeah.
This Taco Bell ain't going to eat itself, Yeah. German Taco Bell.
Eat my Arby's.
Yeah, my Arby's. I like that better.
Yeah.
My crispy curly fries aren't going to be crispy. They're going to be greasy.
Yeah.
My roast beef will solidify by the time I get there. I don't like it.
The au jus will be... Never mind. Yeah, I just love the fact that she got a phone call and she's like, oh, you know what? I'm sorry. Hang tight. I gotta split. And he's like, well, can you untime me before you gotta go? No time for this.
Yeah.
I have to go right now.
Right
now. I'm late to vote I'm a state senator and I'm late for a vote and I gotta get back to reception.
He's like, but
I'm gonna come.
And she's like, sorry, too bad.
Sorry. Yeah. Can you at least take the pantyhose off my head? No, look, I can't. This debate has taken up too much time. I have to go.
You don't understand. It's sitting there. Carl's licking his lips. He's going to get my Arby's, and I can't have that.
I got to get that horsey sauce.
Right? That horsey sauce. Woof. Woof. So I guess the follow-up question is, Justin, how horny have you been in your life to make bad decisions like this?
I've never been left tied up in the woods with undergarments on my head. I'll say that. I've never been that.
I've never been caught doing that.
You've never been. Yeah. I've always been able to reach my box cutter.
Right. Yeah.
This is a man who obviously needs to plan ahead a little bit more in life.
Yeah.
You're 51 years old. Figure it out.
Listen, man, you're not a 31-year-old guy anymore. All right. You're dealing with professionals. All right. You're a professional. Stop underestimating your bondage, ladies. Okay.
Right. Also, I get how let me flip it on you. What about your randiness level? Have you ever been caught in a precarious situation because of it?
I mean, I've gone to less than reputable websites because I see a thumbnail for a video that I'm like, oh, this is going to be the thing that I need to finish. But I think, what, Justin? Don't act like you've never done.
It's the phrasing.
What? Less than reputable?
This is the thing I need to finish.
Just like,
yes.
Yes.
And afterwards, as I'm looking at the website, I'm like, this looks like a really dangerous place. I don't give a shit. Like, I gotta.
Oh, this isn't even a .com. Oh,
yeah,
no.
This is bad. This is bad. Yeah, I think I told the story before, but when I was young, like, I used to I would check the TV listings. This is how old I am. It would tell you when certain softcore porn would be playing on like HBO and stuff like that. And I would set my alarm to like wake myself up so I could sneak downstairs to watch it on the family TV. And one night I did that, and my dad was asleep on the couch, and I was so sexually frustrated that I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I saw the TV remote was like on the floor next to him. My plan was to slowly turn up the volume to wake him up so that he would get up, because I knew if he woke up, he would just go to bed. So I crept onto the floor and slowly started pushing the button. But as soon as I did that, the floor creaked and that woke him up. And then we were in a split level house.
Yeah.
I couldn't get upstairs to where I was staying. The only place I could go was in the basement. And my dad was such a prolific snorer. That's where my mom made him sleep, was 2 floors below her. So the closest escape route I had was to the basement. So I ran to the basement when my dad got up and like got a drink of water or whatever. And I went down to the basement, and we had a basement had gotten flooded in the flood of 9/3. And so there was no carpet, and my grandfather had passed away. So we had like emptied out his house, and we just had a bunch of his shit in our basement. There was no carpet. It was just cement floors. And there was a very specific pathway I had to walk through to get to the corner of the room, because this was my logic. My logic was, when you walk into a room, how often do you check the corners? You're not a SWAT, trooper, right?
I don't sweep the room. Yeah.
You don't sweep the corners. And if you're tired and you want to go to bed, you're probably just going to come in, flip the light switch on, and then go to your room or whatever.
Sure.
So for me, I was like, I went downstairs, I flipped on the light. I was like, I have to walk this very specific path of garbage to get to the corner. It wasn't a straight shot.
On the light, like you weren't afraid that the light was going to draw attention.
Well, that's the thing, is I couldn't leave the light on, because then he would know that I was there. So I had to flip on the light. This is like a fucking game in Pummel Party.
Read it. Yeah.
We had to, like, this is a path, turn off the light, and then figure it out. And I'm going. I'm trying to go fast. I step on a metal platter. I step on it, and I release it, and it goes, wow. I'm like, fuck. I got to keep going, and I make my way over to the corner, and I just, like, kneel down, and I push myself against the wall. Like this.
Now, facing the wall or
facing the wall?
Okay.
Facing the wall. Because I was like, get small, get flat, and whatever you do, don't make a move, don't make a noise. And I hear my dad just boom, 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 coming down the stairs. I hear him rounding the corner. I'm like, fuck. And here's the kicker. I had no idea what I was going to tell my dad if he found me. If he said, what the fuck are you doing? I had nothing. I literally had nothing to tell him. I had no excuse. I had zero. So the only thing that was going through my mind was like, don't get caught. Don't get caught. And I'm just pushed up against it. The light comes on. I'm just like, and he just does exactly what I expect. He just walks past me, goes in to, there was a bathroom in the basement. And as soon as he closed the door, I was like, I have to get out of here before he turns off the light. Because if he turns off the light, I'm going to have to fucking sneak out of here without making any noise.
Right.
So the light was still on. So I was like, now.
It's also, you risk, how many times is he not going to see you, right? Like,
Right.
he already didn't see you once.
Yeah.
You don't want to play those odds. You're not a gambling man, Doug.
No. So I was like, now's my chance. I was like, went upstairs. And at that point, all boner time was over. I was like, I'm going to cut my losses.
Yeah.
And I took my $20 out of the slot machine after putting in my 5, and I'm like, I'm out. And I went upstairs and I went to bed.
I like to think in that story, your dad walked right by you and went, fuck it. I don't even have the energy. He saw you and went, he saw his son in the basement behind a box, kneeling, pressed up against the wall with his face turned, just crunching, eyes closed. And he looked at you and went,
yeah. I was just like,
oh my God, I'm going to puff.
He turned to you and just goes, you were going to jerk off, weren't you?
I know you set your alarm, you fucking weirdo, and just goes into his room. And he's like, no, I'm going to jerk off. And he closes the door.
Once you buy a house, you can do that.
Yeah. My house, my rules. There was another time. Go ahead.
No, I was
You
gonna
go.
say so I always love doing this whenever I think of a time in my childhood where I was like, oh man, like my parents had to deal with. I was like, how as a parent do you deal with anytime you fuck up? How old was your dad at that point? Can we figure that out? How old were you?
I don't think I was older than 10.
Okay.
So this would have been 30 years ago. My dad's currently 76, so he would have been 46. So he wouldn't be a whole lot older than I am now.
I was gonna say, so like put yourself like you're within striking distance of your dad's age at that time. How just again, think of you as you are right now. See, like dealing with like how do you think that you would have not seen you in the corner?
I wouldn't have.
You wouldn't have seen
Listen,
you. Okay.
my passive perception is below average, okay? Like, there have been countless times. One of my favorite stories was when I was in college, my freshman year, I had a lofted bed, as most people did to make more space, and there was a ladder that went up to my bed, and the guy whose friendship ended over a poker game, he and I were very good friends my freshman year, and he loved to steal my ladder, and he did it all the time while I was in the room.
Nice.
And because my computer was on, I'd be playing games. And he'd come and he'd talk to me, and he would put his hands around the ladder. He'd talk to me through the slats.
Amazing.
And then he'd just be like, "All right, dude, I'll see you later." He'd just turn with the ladder in his hands, and just walk. Minutes would pass by, and then I'd look. I go, "Why does it feel empty in here?" And I'm like, "Fuck!" I go, "Jack!" And then he'd be like, "I don't have it, man. I don't know where it went." And he'd hide it in his room somewhere, and have to try and find my ladder. So, yeah, it was classic. It was classic stuff. So yeah, I'm not very observant. I think my biggest thing to do is if I did see Natalie scrunched to the corner like that, I would just be so goddamn confused. I'd be like, you need to explain to me right now what you're doing. And hopefully we've built that enough where she's like, I was trying to watch softcore porn, and I'd be like, well, now I get it. That makes perfect sense. Like it would be like, I'd be like, oh, I've been there. Go to bed though. Yeah.
Don't go to bed. Yeah.
Go to bed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just go to bed, and, okay. Cause that is always the struggle for me is when things don't make sense. I have an aggressive reaction to that.
Right.
Like today.
Well, it's like go ahead. You
Today.
got another one today?
Natalie was outside playing with her friend, and we had the front door open because sometimes she has a hard time opening the door. So the door's open. It's just the door that you pull open or whatever.
Yeah.
Back door's unlocked. She's playing in the back of front yard. She rings the fucking doorbell. Jill's on a call. I'm in the middle of something. I come over. I'm like, and she's just standing at the door, like waving me. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, what? I go, why'd you ring the doorbell? She's like, there's a box out here. I'm like, I know. She's like, well, are we going to bring it in? I'm like, why'd you ring the doorbell? Like, that's my question. You don't need to ring it. You just open the door and come in. Like, why'd you ring it? That was like no sense. Like, that was. Right. I feel bad because look back at it, she was just like, oh shit, I shouldn't have done that. And I don't know why. I'm like, well, why'd you do it? Why? Why'd you ring the doorbell?
Look, these are the times when your parents say, like, I hope one day you have a kid just like it. I'm gonna bring up the SpaghettiOs thing. Her ringing the doorbell is your SpaghettiOs thing.
Yeah.
Where you made SpaghettiOs and you're like, I don't want these. So you dumped them outside. Your dad sees them and is like, what the fuck is this?
What do you think this is? The prairie?
The prairie. That was the line. Yeah. What do you think this is? The prairie? And you're like,
yeah.
I don't know what I was expecting to have happen, I guess.
Yeah, I figured I dumped it out. The evidence was clearly taken care of. It's like, yeah, dude, tomato soup doesn't
in nature.
Doesn't disintegrate when you dump it into the lawn.
I thought the ghosts were going to eat it.
Yeah. It's just like unbelievable. So yeah, to answer the question, like I try to be understanding, and I think I would just be more confused if I found Natalie doing that, and if she could explain to me and be honest with me and tell me what's up. I'm like, all right, we're cool. Like we can get through this together. I need to understand. If I saw that, I'd just be like, what the fuck are you doing? But yeah, I totally wouldn't see her. Yeah. Natalie will totally get stuff by me. I know that. Like.
Oh, so you're ready for it. You're prepared for this.
Listen, man, I'm not an observant guy. I'm not.
Yeah.
It's not my jam. Jill's very observant. I think Natalie has some of Jill's traits as far as like observing things, and it's not my thing. I didn't roll very well in wisdom. Okay. My wisdom stats are low. My passive perception is pretty low. So
Yeah.
it is what it is. So what are you going to do?
Yeah, what are you gonna do? You know what you do roll high in though is
Yes.
practicality.
Goddamn right. Hit it, baby.
You got the questions, we got the answers. All you do is ask. Practical, 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 practical. Ask Practical Doug.
If you haven't been here for Ask Practical Doug before, Practical Doug is a tiny Doug that lives inside of Big Doug, and he helps Big Doug on all of life's journeys and through all of life's quandaries and quagmires. And Practical Doug is here to help you as well. So if you have a question, you can ask Practical Doug by joining us every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central on youtube.com/MindGapPodcast. Join our Discord. There's an actual Ask Practical Doug channel on Discord dedicated to those burning questions that only Practical Doug has burning answers to. Or on any social media, hashtag Ask Practical Doug and at MindGap Podcast. You can ask us on there too. Lots of ways to get your question to Mr. Doug, right? I should have said you have a soothing balm of answer for the burning questions. That's what it was.
I thought you were saying you have a soothing ball. Just one.
Just a singular one. We all know what happened. It was the great pogo stick incident of '88.
That's right.
Moving on. So today's Practical Doug comes from this. I'm assuming this came from Discord.
Reddit.
Well, I thought someone
Reddit.
posted it. Got it. I have read it, but where did it come from?
Reddit.
Got it. Okay. So this is the am I the asshole? So Doug, am I the asshole for not giving my coworker my day off because I want to play a video game? An interesting question, an interesting start. So context. Okay, so anyone in the video game world knows that next week the new Legend of Zelda game comes out after like 5+ years of waiting. I'm a massive fan. When the release date was revealed, I immediately requested PTO for that date as I planned on staying home that day and enjoying the new game. What I didn't realize was that the day I asked off for is the Friday before Mother's Day. My company has had to limit the requests off for that date now, as many people have been asking for it off. That makes sense. I had previously told some of my coworkers that I was planning on staying home to play the game. I guess word got around because one of my other coworkers asked me after work to give her my PTO so she can travel for Mother's Day. I explained to her that I requested this day off months ago for a specific reason, and I really wasn't willing to change it. She got pretty upset with me, claiming I care more about video games than family and whatnot. I honestly don't really care about her not being able to travel because I feel like if this was an important date, then you would have requested it off early, like I did. Anyways, I firmly told her no, but she told some of my other coworkers, and they are pissed at me and calling me an a-hole for not giving up the date. Am I the asshole?
Thank you for asking. I love it, Seth. Classic selfish narcissist behavior. Not the asshole, says Seth. For me, this one's pretty straightforward on a practical level.
Yeah.
If you got the time requested, approved, and you got it off, that's your time. I don't really care what it's being used for. And I think that's irrelevant. Like once you get that time off, it is your time. It's your allotted time. It's within your bank of paid time off. You request it, you get it. There you go. You know. So, yeah, you got picture in picture. My bad. There we go. Now we're good. Yeah, I think if you request the time off, what it's being used for is irrelevant. It doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter. Right. Because you can judge and qualify that all you want, and if this person didn't get the request in time, then that, I mean, granted, there could be some nuance to this, and whatnot, but I've stepping a little bit. Actually, let me stop there, Justin. What do you think about that?
I would say, from like you said, from a very practical standpoint, if we're taking emotion and everything else out of this, practicality says that this guy's not the asshole, because he was like, I want to do this thing. It's my choice. I'm putting the time in. I'm looking ahead and saying, this thing is happening on this date, and it's important to me, and I want to do this. Request it. It's your PTO. If you get it in PTO is always a first come, first serve basis. If you're in a job that limits how many people can be off. Some people are in a job where it doesn't really. I am lucky in my department. It really doesn't matter how many of us are there on a given day. Work can still happen around that. And so I've never really had to in my current position, never really had to kind of jockey for position. In my previous position, very much so. And so you always looked ahead and you planned. And if you know that, there you go. So I would say from a practical standpoint, I'm in full agreement with you.
I very much agree. Some smart ass in there, which I love, said, since you have access to a calendar, you can look at an infinite amount of time to know when Mother's Day is in the future. It's there. You have the information at your disposal. And I also, in a less practical sense, a more emotional sense, I really don't like the idea that some people are like, well, I have a family, therefore I should get preference over this. I've seen it happen in a lot of situations. I feel like because people don't have kids, they're like, well, your time isn't as valuable as mine because I have a family. It's like, no, that's your family.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that your time doesn't matter. And that stuff has always bothered me. I've seen it happen to friends of mine who don't have kids, but their coworkers do have kids, and like, oh, well, I can't work the holidays because I have a family, so I guess it's going to be you. And it's like, that's fucking stupid, Just like someone's like, I got to have a smoke break. It's like, well, I don't smoke.
Right.
I don't get 15-minute, I don't get breaks,
Can I just go sit for 5 minutes and not do work then? Like, is that how that works?
Yeah.
Which is never 5 minutes. Anyone who smoked knows. You milk that.
Yeah, you milk the shit out of that.
I would say I don't think there's anything wrong with this individual asking if he can. Hey, can I here's the thing. Like, look, mea culpa. I didn't plan correctly. I would love to see my mom on Mother's Day. Is there any possible way that I could get you to switch with me? It would mean the world to me. No. Okay. Thanks. Had to ask.
Yeah. And at that point, you can try. Yeah. But that person's not required to do that. They're not required to, give into you. And if you find out what they're doing, that doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if it's for a video game or whatever. Like, that is their time off. You can
try to appeal to their better nature. And if this means this much to this person, then that's what they're going to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you know what? Listen, if I play, first of all, let's just take the games out of it. They weren't going to do anything. They were just going to take that day for themselves. To mentally prepare yourself for that, to know you're going to I only have 4 days of work this week.
Yes.
I'm planning all that mental sort of stuff that you do, to be like, I don't have to go into work on this day. And the idea that, you have to surrender that, like, that sucks, man. Like, that really, really sucks. So, yeah, I would totally say this person's not the asshole. You earned that time off. You requested it. You got it. It's all yours.
Now, let me ask you this. If someone came to you and petitioned you with this same, what would you do? Would you acquiesce to the request, or would you stand true and say, nope, this is my PTO?
I'm a nice guy, and I think it would be hard, but it would depend on the situation.
Sure. Like, if they were like, my mom is really sick, and this might be the last Mother's Day I get with her, and we didn't know, yada, yada, yada.
It would depend, because if I'm trying to think of a comparable thing, because, like, I wouldn't take a day off for a game. Like, I wouldn't do that. Trying to think of something that's, like, not that big of a deal, but I would still take time off for. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I can't think of it. I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of, like, something that's important to me, but other people would be like, that's not that important. And then having someone be like, hey, man.
A movie releasing or something.
I guess something like that. But even still, that's not an all-day thing. I don't know. It kind of depends on where I am in my life. Like, if I was younger, I'm like, you know what? I'll bank that time again, or I'll swap something, or maybe I'd be reasonable to try and work something out if I could. Nowadays, maybe not. I don't know. It depends, because if I got something planned with a family, we're going to go and do something. And I don't know. It's hard to say, because also I'm in the same boat as you, where it doesn't matter when people take time off, it doesn't matter. So I would like to say like it would really depend on my mental state of like what am I preparing to do for that day. If that day means a lot to me, I'd probably still say I'm sorry, but no, this is my day. You know?
Yeah.
Like this is I need this day. This is what I prepped for. This is what I planned for. This is my time, and you know, I'm sorry. This place sucks that it caps this stuff off. You know, but yeah, that's probably how I'd handle it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You go is what it is.
Yeah, and it's not me being an asshole. It's just someone needs something, and either they didn't plan for it or they just didn't get it. So that's no one else's fault.
Right.
So don't hold that against someone else. But like, he's just taking the day off to play games. It's like, whatever. That's irrelevant.
Right. It's his. Also, you're kind of the asshole for spreading, you know, for gossiping around the office like that.
Yeah.
What are you badmouthing this person for?
Yeah, don't do that. Don't be like that.
Be that person.
Don't be a turd muncher.
That's right. Don't be a turd in a punch bowl.
Boo-doo-doo.
There you go. And asked and answered. The soothing balm for your burning questions.
Soothing balm for your ball. Ta-da. Justin, what do you got to recommend this week?
Well, I am going to recommend a sitcom that I watched it on Hulu, but I do think it is an ABC show. It's called Not Dead Yet. Wasn't sure about it in the beginning. When we first started, we were like, this could go either way. And by the end, I was like, I fucking love these characters. I don't think this is your kind of show, so I'm not recommending it to you.
That's
but,
fair.
Stars Gina Rodriguez from Jane the Virgin, Lauren Ash, who was on Superstore, Hannah Simone was on New Girl. So a lot of sitcom veterans, a lot of TV sitcom funny people. There's a whole bunch of other, people who roll through, but Gina Rodriguez plays a newspaper reporter who left and then comes back, and the only job that's available at our old newspaper is the obituary section. But when she gets signed an obituary, she gets haunted by the ghost of the person she's writing about. And she has to try to figure out, how do I communicate with them and get rid of them and also live my life? And so it's kind of a situational work relationship comedy that actually has a surprising amount of heart. I would say not as much as Ted Lasso, but it's a very different show than Ted Lasso. Some of the same DNA, very different show.
Rick Glassman's in this, huh?
Who? Oh, yeah. How do you know him? What's he from?
He's a comedian and a podcaster.
He
very
is
improv heavy guy.
Is he?
I mean, this guy on the drop of a dime will just go into bits. Like he's kind of a lot to handle sometimes, but he's got a very unique sense of humor that I find interesting.
His character and his character's delivery, he's a fun character to write for. And I'm wondering how much of it is written or if they let him go.
Yeah, he's a very he does some wild shit. Like when he edits his podcast and stuff like that, he'll be like, and now we'll go to our sponsor, and his dad apparently owns like a carpet and flooring company, and he will literally do commercials for his dad's, like, and it'll be his dad doing like, so and so carpeting, we get you, and he's like, no, let's do that again. You're reading that wrong. That's not the right ad copy. It's just like they're almost like Andy Kaufman like bits and stuff like that. It's very interesting. He's an interesting guy.
Awesome.
And he told an interesting story about growing up when he was apparently put in like some special ed classes because they didn't know what ADHD was. And one day, he just left the classroom to go to the bathroom. And when he was on his way back, he heard his teacher like freaking out, saying, "Ricky's on the loose! Ricky's on the loose!" And he's like, "Ricky's like, what am I, a monster?" Like, they just thought he was a psycho, And he just talked about, he laughs about it. He goes, "Man, that really hurt my feelings because I was just like, I'm a human being, but you think I'm some sort of animal." So anyway.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Interesting. So so the character he plays has I didn't realize that it's no longer called Asperger's syndrome. It's level 1 autism. So the character actually has it. He was diagnosed with that in the late 2010s. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So he was playing a character. So I thought it was just playing into that character, but that actually makes it even funnier and cooler that the fact that they're like, yeah, this is something that, like, this is who you are. Great. We're going to put that into the character, or we're going to let you put that into the character. So anyway, it's a fun show. I would say the season ended, and it by the end, it got me. It sucked me in. So I will be watching season 2.
Nice.
What do you got?
I don't have anything. I've been rewatching Game of Thrones.
Okay.
I watched House of Dragon, and I was like, God damn it, it's going to do it. It's going to suck me in, and it did. I was like, I'm going to rewatch it, and I'm almost done with season 5.
Oh, you're burning through them.
Burning through it, man. And
Jesus.
It's great.
Are you getting angry because you know it's coming?
I was just sitting there going like, I know season 6 is a fucking banger, man. It's a banger. And I'm like, I told myself I'm just going to watch through 6. I'm like, no, I'm going to go through the rest of it and just see where it goes off the rails.
Are you picking up anything that, because I haven't rewatched it. I watched it once, and that was that. But are you picking up anything that you didn't realize the first time through? I'm always curious about this shit.
There's like little foreshadowing things that I obviously didn't see, that, you hear people talking about, and they do reference House of the Dragon characters, just in passing as they're, reading stories about stuff from the past and whatnot. There's still some, oh God, there's certain episodes where you're still like, fuck, like the Red Wedding. It's a tough one.
Yeah.
With the Viper and the Mountain duel. That one was so goddamn tough. That one's a tough one. When Sansa marries the Bolton boy, and you're like,
oh my God, I forgot about how fucked up he was, dude.
Yeah, there's just some stuff where you're like, oh shit, like some of the stuff Joffrey does, is pretty fucked up, and you're like, God damn, like.
Oh wait, was the Bolton boy the one that tortured
Theon?
He made the kid dog.
Yeah, Reek. Yeah.
Reek. Yeah. Oh, that was it, not dog. Reek. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ramsay. That was tough.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Yeah, it's definitely a good show. It's just, I know it's coming with season 7 and 8. As we get there, I'm gonna be like, God damn it, man! There's just
winter's coming.
Yeah, I know, but I'm gonna do it. It's like what I did with Lost. I went back. I'm like, I need to find that exact moment where it just goes tits up, and I'm gonna find it.
I can tell you where I stopped watching.
Yeah.
Before episode 3. That's it.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it. Would you recommend I finish Lost at some point in my life?
No.
Good, because I wasn't going to do it anyways.
It's annoying. Season 5 is wild, but boy, you get into season 6 and you're just like, I don't know, it just becomes a mess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just a bunch of shit where people just, boy, if they would just talk, there would be no problems. That show would have been wrapped up real easy if people would just talk to each other.
Yeah.
Just not be like, I can't talk to him because we're fighting right now and I can't tell him the truth that would solve this problem. Gah. It's like, eat all the balls. Eat all the balls.
Siren is saying real quick here, an ASD person is listening, Oh, sorry, not 3. An ASD person is listening, autism spectrum disorder is the actual diagnosis, no levels. It is a spectrum. You can have high, middle, or low functioning. I was just going off of what was being reported in Wikipedia. I thought that was I'm assuming it's a statement that he made. No, my apologies for mislabeling that or misspeaking that. So I guess high functioning autism spectrum disorder, I guess, would be what this individual has. But yes.
I concur. No. I don't know.
Who's that?
I'm not a doctor.
Who's that?
She goes, oh, I see. It's okay, Justin. There you go. Well, gang, thanks so much for listening. This has been fun. As always, please check us out on all our social media at MindGap Podcast. Check us out, youtube.com/MindGap Podcast. Follow us live. Chat with us live, just like Siren and Seth have been doing this evening. We live stream on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Central. I host video game streams on Fridays at 8 p.m. Central. There will be no video game stream this Friday because Jill's going out with friends, and I'm hanging out with Nat. And I'm going to try and do something special with Nat on Friday. So no video game stream this time. But do us a favor. Check out our links in the description for the Discord. Join the Discord. Be part of the family. Hit the like and subscribe to do the free option of supporting us. And then also you can hit us up monetarily at patreon.com/mindgappodcast and our merch at redbubble.com. And be sure to check out Justin as well.
On Instagram, you can follow me at Justin_Michael, spelled Mikel. It's the fun way of spelling it. And while you're in the online realm, check us out on all the platforms where you can find and consume your favorite podcasts. We're there too. We'd love it if you would share and like, review, rate, all those things, subscribe. The big one, of course, is sharing, because sharing is caring. And then 2east8th.com. I keep wanting to say /my. Every once in a while, I pull the old
script
out of the brain tunnel. 2east8th.com and 2east8th on all social medias. And loveandimprovfilm.com and loveandimprovfilm on all social medias.
Wiggity woo. Well, that being said, I want to say, Justin, thank you.
Douglas, thank you.
Chat, thank you.
Listeners, thank you.
And you all have a dandy fucking week. Stop recording there and stop recording there.
I am going to trust this computer. Yes, trust this computer.
Town of Salem. Why do I feel like I've heard of that game?
Wait, to connect. Not now. Stop. What? Disconnect. I'm gonna.
Oh, this is like one of those social deduction games. I gotcha. I feel like I saw you playing this during one of your streams.
Me?
No, Justin, but soon, I hope. Soon.
Oh, soon and very soon. We are going to see the king.
Interesting. Wait, how can you play this? It's not even released yet. What are you doing, Siren? Do you have some sort of special access that we don't know about? Are you an insider?
Person?
Impressive.
Are you the cool person?
Most impressive. Yeah.
Something dark side.
Dark side.
Something really complete.
Oh, it's an alpha right now. Open access on May 26th. Gotcha. Very cool. I'm not very good at deduction games. I like to play them, though. They're fun. I'm just bad at lying.
Know your passive perception is...
Yeah. I'm just bad at lying, so that doesn't help me. Whenever I'm like, fuck, I'm the spy. I don't want to be the spy, you know?
Their stress level goes through the roof.
Yeah. 'Tis no good. 'Tis no good.
No good for anyone.
No good for anyone. Okay, everybody, a.k.a. Siren, thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate you. I won't spoil if I want to watch. Well, maybe I will want to watch. Thank you for not spoiling. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Thanks for chatting. We appreciate you. And stay safe, be cool, and we'll see you next week for another episode of Mind Gap Podcast. Later, taters.